Hey guys, so in this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to make this mini Yeti design, which is designed by Jaime Looms on Instagram. I've done tutorials for him before. He makes really cute designs. I think the lemonade and then the coconut I posted from like a year ago are his designs. But yeah, here's the design. It is a mini version of my Yeti that is actually on this channel, and I don't have the bigger Yeti with me. I think I left it at home, and I'm still currently not at my home. Well, I guess I'm in my apartment, but I'm not in like my home I grew up in. I don't know, complicated. Anyways, don't have my big Yeti, but I'll link up in like the iCard so you can see my big Yeti design. But this is a mini version of that design, and I actually think it's really cute, and Jaime asked me to do a tutorial for it, so of course I said yes, and that is what we're obviously doing here. I don't know what that intro was, but this is the design. I think it's so cute, and I made a purple and like solar bands Yeti just for fun. I haven't actually taken him in the sun yet. I should do that. But also the sun is setting right now, so like that plan's kind of ruined, but yeah. And then we have a kind of blue Yeti. But yeah, and then I can also show you Jaime's page, which I think you should definitely go give him a follow if you don't already. But this is his account, and he has a ton of cool posts. I want to scroll back to wherever the Yeti is. He makes a lot of my designs, which I really appreciate. Polar bear. We should be getting to Yetis. Ah, here they are. The Yetis, and they're so cute and adorable, and he did them in classic Yeti colors, which I'm actually gonna do today. I just did one in this color because why not? But yeah, I don't think this design is hard to make. It's pretty simple shape-wise, and I'm not doing anything too crazy. The only reason I think it might be a little bit hard is I've noticed a lot of beginners have trouble when things are small, and this is a mini design, so it is kind of small, and plus we are adding fluff to make like a fluffy Yeti, and sometimes it can get hard to see when it's small and has fluff, so that's the only reason I think it might be hard, is if you're not used to how I say and do my steps and you're trying to see what I'm doing, it might be hard to see in this video, and I think that's just because of how this design is, and there's kind of nothing I can do about it. When I was actually writing down the pattern for this, I was doing it and I was just like, this is gonna be fun to make a tutorial for because it's really hard to see. That being said, I don't think it's bad at all, and I don't think it's impossible. It's just a little rougher than difficult, so if you're like a beginner and you need to like really be able to see what I'm doing, this might not be the best design choice, but I think it's not that bad, and if you've made a couple of my designs, you should be totally okay. And yeah, I think you should make it. I think it's cute. I love these guys. I'm excited to make a third one. So what you need for this tutorial, you're gonna need a hook. I'm gonna be using I was gonna say my double-ended hook, but this is actually, well, it is my double-ended hook. I don't know what I'm rambling about, but this double-ended hook, which I actually haven't used yet. This is my usual double-ended hook. Rainbow Loom like re-released my hook, and I bought one, and I haven't had a chance to use it yet. So I'm gonna test it out in this tutorial to see if it's exactly the same. And if you're wondering if that's still on sale, it actually isn't. I waited so long to like, I posted about it when they did it, but like I waited so long to film a video with it that they actually ran out of stock, or like, I don't know what happened, but hook. But yeah, you don't need this exact hook. You can use a crochet hook, you can use a regular Rainbow Loom hook. Someone in my videos recently commented that they were using a toothpick. And I guess if that works, you can use that, but that seems challenging, so I don't recommend. Ugh, there's all these little bugs flying around my room, and I don't know what they are. I don't like them. The heck? It like landed on my face. Of course you're gonna need bands for your Yeti. I'm gonna be doing like a classic colored Yeti today. I'm gonna be using these clear sparkle bands for the fluffy portion of my Yeti, and then for the I dropped one. And then for my Yeti's face, and then his feet, hands, and horns, I'm going to be using this light blue color. Of course, you're going to need something to mark your rows with. I'm going to be using a C-clip, which I'm just realizing right now I may have forgotten. But you're going to need a C-clip or something to mark your rows with. You could also use an S-clip. There's like so many different kinds of clips, but basically just something to mark where you start and end. It could be a different colored band, it could be a stitch marker, whatever you want, but just something to do that. And then you're just going to... Ooh. On my camera. This is not a need, but it is an option, and I am going to be using it, but you need some beads for the eyes. I'm going to be using these, I think they're 4mm black beads that I got from Amazon. I have a whole ton of them, so I'll be using these. But if you don't have beads, you can easily just use a black band instead. So, yeah. And of course, you're gonna need something to stuff him with. I'm gonna be using cotton balls today. I just like using cotton balls for smaller designs. And I think that is it. But as always, the pattern will be down in the description, and the band count is down there as well. So I don't know how many bands this guy takes right now. I don't think it's that many. But if you need to know how many bands he takes, the band count will be down in the description. And I think we're gonna get started. Okay, so we are gonna get started. Also, I've switched my band color because I refilmed this one time and I just noticed it was very hard to see what I was doing. So I think if I'm using solid white, it will hopefully be better. At least we can hope. So to start, we're gonna start with a triple cap band with 8 stitches in it, but we're also starting to add like fluff bands. So we have a lot going on like immediately. Just adjust my light a little bit. Okay. So, like I said, we're gonna start by wrapping a band 3 times around our hook. So 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, this is so much easier to see. I made a bad choice in band colors, so sadly no sparkly Yeti, but it's okay. But yeah, you're gonna wrap up a band 3 times around your hook just like this, and then we are going to pull a band through the entire cap band, and then we're gonna put both ends back on our hook, and then we're gonna push this back loop over the front loop, and that'll be our first stitch. It's really kind of hard to see what's going on. Like that. So now, because we're adding fluff bands, we need to add one to this first stitch. So we're gonna grab this, remove it from our hook, and then we're gonna double a band on our hook. So we're just gonna wrap it around once. Put this back on our hook, and then we're just gonna push this fluff band over and onto that stitch. And you can kind of see how this gets like confusing to see very quickly. Like already it kind of just looks like a mess of tangled bands, but it gets better, I promise. Just the starting bit is like so crowded. So like I said, we need 8 stitches in this cap band. So that was our first stitch. We're gonna go ahead and do 7 more. So I'm having a hard time seeing what's going on too. Hold up. Oh god. And I had to kind of like pull on some bands so I could easily see what my cap band, but we're gonna go through the whole cap band again. As you can see, I got all 3 loops up on my hook, and then we're gonna pull a band through just the cap band, so not this last loop, and then we're gonna push the back one over the front one. So I just realized at this point that we forgot to add the fluff band for this this stitch, so we're just gonna go ahead and like pull this off our hook for a second, double a band, and then put it back on our hook. I hate how weird my camera's looking and I can't figure out why. Anyways, we'll just push that fluff band over and then push the loop from last time over as well. If you're confused by what I just did, because it looked very confusing, I'm going to show you the easier way to add the fluff band so you don't have to like remove the stitch from your hook and then add it. I just forgot to do it last time. But before you do a stitch, or before you like make the next stitch in the cap band, you're just going to double a band on your hook. And then you just kind of leave it there. And then you'll go back through the cap band. You'll pull a band through just the cap band, so ignoring like everything else that's on this hook, but you'll just go through the cap band. You'll put both ends back on your hook, push the back one over the front one, push the fluff band over, and then you push the loop from last time over. And then it should look something like this. Like that. So we have 3 stitches in this cap band, we need 8, so we need to do 5 more stitches. I'm gonna show you again because I know this is very confusing. I promise you also, like, the start bit is the worst. Actually, I would like to say it's the worst bit, but then we have to do arms and legs and everything. This is a mini design, like I said. Everything's just kind of tiny and there's kind of nothing you can do about it. So once again, we'll start by doubling a band, then just kind of leaving it on our hook. Then we'll go through the whole cap band, pull a band through just the cap band, put both ends back on your hook, push the back one over the front one, then you push the fluff band over, and then you push the loop from the last stitch. Like that. So now we're at 4 stitches. We need to do 8, so I'm gonna keep going. Once again, before I do any stitch, and this is gonna be from now until like the end of this design, every time before you do a stitch, you need to double a band on your hook. At some point in this tutorial, I'm gonna stop mentioning that, because if I mention it every time, it's just gonna get very repetitive. But every time from now until literally we're finishing the legs, so basically from here all the way to here is fluff. There's only one row without it, and it's just the feet. So I'll let you know when we get there, but like anytime before you do a stitch from now until the end of the design, always add this fluff band before. And then we're gonna go through the cap band. Make a stitch. Slide the fluff band over, and then slide the loop from last time over. There is a tiny bug that is driving me insane. Like, I don't know why it's hanging out around me, but it's fine. Like that. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep going. I think I'm at 5 loops. Yeah, we're at 5, so I need to do 3 more stitches. We're just doing the same thing. Always remembering to add this fluff band before we make a stitch. And I'm just making a stitch, sliding the fluff band over, and then sliding the loop from last time over. And I need to pick up more bands. I am a little bit worried about the lighting in this video. I feel like it doesn't look good. But it's probably fine. I feel like I'm always so hard on myself, like whenever I'm filming I'm like, oh, the lighting looks weird, and then I'm worried you guys can't see what I'm doing, and then I look at it after and I'm like, it looked fine. So I think sometimes I just worry too much, but it's fine. Okay. So what was I doing? Okay. So yeah, so we're just gonna keep making stitches in the cap band until we have 8, and I'll show you how to count to make sure we have 8 stitches. But yeah. Yep. Don't have anything else to add. I feel like this may have been a bad design for me to do a tutorial for, because I haven't made a tutorial in like a minute. Like, it's been a minute, but I think we're good. Okay, so I actually think I'm at 8 stitches, and the way you want to count to make sure you're at 8 is you're just going to start by counting the loops. It's kind of hard to see with the fluff bands, but you can kind of see they're like forming this circle on top. But you'll start by counting the one on your hook, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like that. So once you've made sure you have 8 loops, you're going to go ahead and make a stitch on this first loop here. So you're gonna add your fluff band first so we don't forget. And then you're gonna make a stitch on this loop. Slide your fluff band over. Oops. My fluff band came undone. But you'll just slide your fluff band over, and then you'll slide the loop from last time over. And then this is where we're gonna put our C-clip. Like that. So for the next step, we're only increasing 2 loops, and at the end of this row we should have 10 in total. We're increasing on the 4th and the 8th, but basically we're gonna do 3 single stitches, and then on the 4th one we do an increase, and then the 8th is the one right before the C-clip, so that one's kind of easy to remember. But if you get lost, don't worry, like, I'll tell you exactly where to increase. But yeah, at the end of this row we should still be at 10 loops, and we're still, like I said, we're adding the fluff bands the entire way. I'm kind of sad that the glitter bands didn't work out. I wanted a glittery Yeti. Anyways. Fluff. So like I said, we're gonna start by doing 3 single stitches. So this one with the C-clip on it will count as our first single stitch. So this will be our next single stitch, or second single stitch. So we're just doing 1 stitch in each loop until we get to the 4th. So we just did 1. So I just did 3 single stitches, so we have 1, 2, and then the one with the C-clip on it is 3, which means that this next loop here is going to be our increase. And all it increases is we put 2 stitches in this loop, so go back into that loop. Oh my god. This bug. Oh, there's 2 of them now. You guys can now see the bug. He's a problem. I don't know why suddenly we haven't... I woke up this morning and there was just a bunch of these tiny little bugs in my room. Please go away. Anyways, this is our 4th loop, so we're gonna do an increase in it, and we're just doing 2 stitches in this loop, and we're still adding fluff. Like that. And that's all an increase is. So we have 2 stitches in that 1 loop, and now we're gonna do single stitches until we get to this loop right here before the C-clip, and that'll be our second increase. So we're just doing single stitches until we get to the one right before the increase. And this kind of happens sometimes with the fluff bands. I don't know if you can see, but like my hook keeps getting caught on things I don't want it to get caught on. Okay, so now I am 1 loop before the increase, not before the increase, 1 loop before the C-clip. So there's a C-clip, there's this 1 loop left, that's the other loop we're going to increase on. So in this loop, we're going to do 2 stitches because it's an increase. And then we should be at 10 loops, and I'll count around to make sure. And I think that like starting bit was like the most difficult point of the design, so if you've made it to this point, we should be good from now on. But yeah, so I'm just gonna do an increase here. So that's 1 stitch, and I'm still adding fluff before I make my stitches. 2 stitch, and then once you get to the C-clip, we're just going to do a single stitch on the one that has a C-clip on it, and then we'll take the C-clip off of the loop it's on and move it up to the loop that's on our hook, like that. So now we should be at 10 loops if we count. Once again, we're going to start by counting the one on our hook, so we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And it should be looking something like this. Cool. So now is where it gets a bit repetitive. We're going to be doing 4 rows of single stitches, and at the end of each of these rows you should still be at 10 loops. We're still adding fluff, and that's basically it. This design is pretty simple. It's just that the starting portion is like so hard to see. Like I was literally sitting there looming yesterday just thinking this is gonna be a pain to film. So yeah, but I hope your Yeti's looking okay right now and you survived the horrible start bit, because the start bit's just the worst. It always is. But it's fine. Anyways, I'm gonna stay and do a couple rows with you. So this will be our first row of single stitches, and literally all we're doing is we're just doing 1 stitch in every loop until we get to the C-clip. And as you can see, I'm still remembering to like wrap bands on my hook before I do each stitch. I feel like sometimes designs that have like fluff bands or whatever are annoying, but at the same time I find them fun. Like, it's annoying to do, but I think they look so, like, cute after. I kind of love designs that have fluff on them, but I just feel like my tutorial brain, every time I do it, is like, that's gonna be a pain to film, but I think it's so worth it. Anyways, I'm just doing single stitches, so all I'm doing is one stitch in every loop until we get to the C-clip. Also, speaking of like tutorial brain, there is sometimes when I'm like designing or like looming and I'm just doing something and I'm like, I have to figure out a different way to make it for the tutorial because it's gonna be so bad. There's some designs that are just like that when it's like, it's not gonna be a fun time. And I try to make all my designs super simple, but sometimes you just can't avoid it. And sometimes like for the end result, it's worth it to have super complicated stuff happening. I just think it's interesting that sometimes like when I'm making things and I shouldn't be worried about like how easy it is gonna be to like explain after, I'm still thinking about it. Anyways, we're almost at the C-clip. These rows always take a little longer to do because you do have to wrap the band. I do think it's fun to do though. You know, I take it back. Fluffy designs, they're amazing. Love them. Just hate explaining. Anyways, once you get to the C-clip, you're gonna make a stitch on the one that has a C-clip on it. Not do what I just did, which is just let everything go. Oh my god. Don't do that. But if this happens to you, and like all your loops are sticking up, it is pretty easy to fix. I know it might look worse than it is because the fluff bands all immediately flew off. But you just kind of gotta re-put the fluff bands on and then re-loop. It's like not the end of the world. It's just some re-looping. Anyways, that was our first row of single stitches. If I count around, I should still be at 10 loops. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So like I said, we have to do 4 of these rows in total. I'm gonna stay and do 2 on camera with you, so I'm gonna do 1 more row on camera, and then I'm gonna go off camera to do the other 2 rows, and then I'll come back to show you what to do next. I just find it helpful to go off camera sometimes, because if not, I'd be here forever. Anyway, so we're just gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going around doing single stitches. And we're just doing 1 stitch per loop. Same as before, and still adding fluff bands. We just keep doing this until we hit the C-clip. Kind of interesting that, like, I don't know if you guys notice this, but I notice sometimes I get comments about this, but my desk is, I don't know if did I address this in the beginning? I feel like I didn't. I feel like I filmed 2 videos today. I filmed an unboxing video, which will be coming out after this actually, and then I'm filming this tutorial, but we're back to my yellow desk. I don't know if you guys remember this desk, but it was like the desk I first bought when I moved to university. There's like 2 or 3 tutorials that have this like weird yellow desk, but we're back to this desk now because I've moved again. And the old desk I was actually using for a long time actually belonged to the apartment place, so I had to switch back to this desk. I feel like I need to get a better mat for my desk because I actually, like, I always have to rip the mat that's on my desk off because it's just like this obnoxious green color and it does not look good for Loom tutorials or anything really, but it does work well for whenever I'm doing things on my desk because then, I don't know. Where was I going with that? Anyways, we are at the C-clip, so I'm gonna just go ahead and do a stitch on the one that has a C-clip on it. and then we'll move it up. And that will be our second row. So by now your Yeti should be looking a little something like this. And we still have 2 more rows of single stitches to do, but I don't want this tutorial to be, I don't know, too repetitive, long, who knows. So I'm gonna do the other 2 rows, and then I'm gonna come back and show you what to do next. But yeah, and at the end of each of these rows you should still be at 10 loops, but we'll count again together when I finish. Okay, so I just finished doing the 4 rows, and my Yeti, I was also picking up bands at the same time. That was horribly planned. I don't know why I didn't finish doing one and then hit record. Don't know. Anyways, Yeti. Your Yeti should be looking a little something like this. Yeah, your Yeti should be looking a little something like this after the 4 rows of single stitches. And if we count around, we should still be at 10 loops, so let's count real quick. My camera, thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wait. Hold up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, yeah, so we're still at 10 loops. So that's actually it for the body, and now we are going to be moving on to making the legs. And, I'm debating. I don't know, we might want to add a little bit of stuffing right now, just because it gets harder to do it when we have legs. So you're gonna want to stuff this guy. I have a cotton ball. I'm just gonna tear it up and stuff him. And you don't want to stuff him too much, because this design really doesn't honestly need that much stuffing. It just helps to have a little bit. So just put a little bit of stuffing in him. That's way too much stuffing, jeez. Probably only needs like this much. And you can take your hook out while you stuff him. I left mine in, if it's easier. But yeah, you don't need a lot of stuffing. I just put a little bit just so he's not so soggy. And believe it or not, that's actually the entire body. So we're gonna get started on doing the legs. And the legs are very similar to how I do legs in a lot of my designs. But basically we're gonna split this almost in 2. So we're gonna use 5 of these loops for one leg and then 5 of these loops for the other leg. And we're still adding fluff bands. So we're just gonna go ahead and we're just gonna single stitch forward 4 times. This one with the C-clip on it is gonna count as our first loop. That's why we're only doing 4 single stitches. So this will be 1. And then we're just gonna single stitch 4 more times, so we have 5 total. So this one on our hook is 1, and I'm just gonna count while doing single stitches. 2. Oh my god. I keep letting go of everything, and then the fluff bands come undone. And normally I can just pick it up, but when you have fluff bands, you can't. Okay. So 1, 2. And I know it's really hard to see what I'm doing, and I'm trying my best to show you, but it's just, this is another one of those points where it's kind of just really hard to show you. But 3, 4, that's 4 single stitches, and then this last one will be 5, and I'm out of bands on my finger. 5. So now we're just going to want to count backwards to make sure we're still at 5 single stitches, to make sure we did 5 single stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the one with a C-clip on it is 5. So now we're going to turn, we're going to go back through the one with a C-clip on it, and we're still adding fluffy bands. But we're going to go back through the one with a C-clip on it, and we're just going to make a stitch, and then we'll just move our C-clip up. And now we kind of have this like little circle that's like separate from the rest of our Yeti, and these 5 loops that are left over here we're going to use to make the other leg later. But for now we're just going to focus on like this little circle we made, and it should be 5 loops. So 1, 2, 3, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Like that. Now we're gonna do 1 row of single stitches around this little thing we made. And it's kind of really hard to see. I'm gonna do my best to show you, but we're just doing 1 row of single stitches, so we're just doing 1 stitch in every loop until we get to the C-clip. And this is really hard to see, but kind of just gotta trust. And especially with the fluff bands, it gets really, really tight. And then once you get to the one with the C-clip, we're actually gonna switch colors. So instead of using white, we're gonna use whatever color we want for our feet. And for me, that's gonna be this pastel blue, I think, still. Yeah, we'll keep them pastel. So we're just gonna switch to this pastel color, and we're not adding fluff bands anymore. So whenever we use this color in this design, we're pretty much not gonna do any bands that are like fluff. So we're just gonna pull the band through everything on our hook, and then push the back one over the front one, and then move our C-clip up. And now we're gonna do 1 row of single stitches, but this time in the foot color. And we should still be at 5 loops if you count. So you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But we're just gonna keep doing single stitches. So we're just gonna do 1 row of single stitches, no fluff, and in foot color. I kind of feel like I'm going fast, so this is your reminder to pause as you need. But it's just kind of hard not to go fast because of how small it is. Dying, not actually. And then once you get to the C-clip, you're just going to make a stitch on the one that has the C-clip on it. And at this point, we can take it out. If you count around, you should still be at 5 loops, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But now we're going to close up. So we are just going to do, I think, 1 decrease, and we should be done. I think we have to actually do 2 decreases, yeah. So we're going to decrease 2 times, basically, to close this up. Normally I don't say how many times, but this time is kind of easier to do that. But all a decrease is you're going to grab the inside part of 1 loop, back part of the next loop, and then you just make a stitch. And we're going to do that again. So you're going to pick up the inside part of 1 loop, back part of the next loop, and then you're going to pull a band through everything. And then you push the back one over the front one and pull tight. And that'll be it for this leg. So we're just going to tuck this tail up into the leg. I find that's the easiest way to tuck this one in. So just pull it in. And that's 1 leg. So we need to do the other leg, and the leg is pretty much done the exact same way as we did this leg. I am going to show you how to do the other leg because why not? I don't know. I think it'd be helpful. So we're going to go ahead and do the other leg. Okay. So like I said, we should have 5 loops left over from last time. And it's kind of hard to see, but I can tell that this is the last loop that has like nothing on it. And again, we're gonna still keep adding like fluff bands, so we're gonna again double a band on our hook before we make any stitches. And then we're gonna go through this loop and we're just gonna do a stitch. And we're gonna go ahead and put a C-clip on this one, because this will be our first loop. Like that. And now we're gonna just do single stitches forward 4 times. And none of these loops should have any other like stitches on them. If you picked your first one correctly, you should be able to look at your guy and tell which ones do and don't have stitches, but I can tell that there's 1, 2, 3, 4 loops here that have nothing on them. So we're just gonna do 4 single stitches. that's 3. No. Oh yeah, that's 3. See, 1, 2, 3. So we have to do 2 more. So 1. 2. Okay, so now we should have 5 loops, and you can count to make sure. So we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So once you've made sure you have 5, you're going to go through the one that has a C-clip on it, and make sure to add your fluff band first. I nearly forgot. You'll go through the one that has a C-clip on it, make a stitch, and then you'll just move your C-clip up onto this one. And just like last time, we're going to do 1 row of single stitches around this, still using white and our fluff color. So we'll just do 1 row of single stitches, still adding fluff bands. And this is again at the point where it's kind of really hard to see. Like even for me, who I usually look through the camera to loom, I'm kind of having to look over the camera just because it's a little hard to tell what's going on. Okay, and then once we get to the C-clip, we are going to go ahead and switch over to our leg, or like foot color, I guess. So whatever color you want his feet to be. And we're just going to go through the one with the C-clip on it, pull a band that should be in our feet color through everything. Both ends on our hook, back one over the front one, and then move our C-clip up. So we should still be at 5 loops. It is really hard to count, but if you want to count, we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we're just going to do 1 row of single stitches in our foot color, and not adding any like fluff bands. And it is really hard for me to see what I'm doing. Okay. And then once you get to the one with the C-clip on it, you'll make a stitch, and we can just take the C-clip out. And if we count around, we should still be at 5 loops, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we're going to do 2 decreases just like last time to close this up. So once again, to decrease, you'll grab the inside part of one loop, back part of the next loop, make a stitch, and then inside part of one loop, back part of the next loop, so we're decreasing. Pull the band through everything under my hook, push the back one over the front one, and pull tight. And then we'll just hide this in our Yeti, like that. And then we have the main body. And just in time, my camera started blinking. Well, the light. Okay, what I was trying to say before I like paused was that my camera battery died at the perfect time because I finished all the steps, but I think it came out in a jumble. Anyways, our Yeti should be looking something like this. I also think I saw one of those tiny bugs flying around. Should be looking a little something like this. So cute. He just looks like a fluffy blob with legs. So if you want, you can tie closed because there's like a little hole at the bottom of him. So you can tie this shut if it's bothering you. I think I did on all my other Yetis just because. But you kind of just go through, put your hook through one side, put your hook through one of the loops on the other side. And then you just take a white band or whatever band your fluff color is, And you just kind of tie it shut. And hide the tail. And hiding the tails are really easy on this guy because you can kind of let the loops poke out wherever else. It's not even noticeable. Though I do see this one. Trying to hide this tail back in. Okay. So now all we need to do is give him his face, arms, and other things. So I already made one arm, but I'm going to show you how to make an arm so he can have two. I think we'll do the arms first. So to make the arms, this is also another moment where it's very tiny, very hard to see, but it's fine, hopefully. I don't know what else to say. It's just tiny. So we're actually gonna start on this end. So we're starting on the end with the little hands. So you're gonna want to start with your foot color or whatever color you did for his little feet. And we're gonna start by wrapping a band 3 times around our hook. So 1, 2, 3. And then we're gonna pull a band through the whole cap band. Put both ends back on our hook, and then just push the back one over the front one. So I forgot to say, but we're doing 4 stitches in this cap band. I probably should have said that earlier, but we're just going to be doing 4 stitches in this cap band. So that was 1 stitch. So we're going to go back in through the whole cap band. It's not all the loops. Pull a band through just the cap band. Put both ends back on your hook. Push the back one over the front one, and then push the loop from last time over as well. So that's 2 stitches. Like I said, we need 4, so we need to do 2 more stitches. So 1, 2. And then you should have a cap band with 4 stitches in it, and that'll be the start to our arm. So once you make sure you have 4 stitches by counting, so let's count real quick. We'll have 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, we have 4 loops. But now we're gonna go back into that first loop, and we're gonna switch over to our hand color, not our hand color, our fluff color, so back to white. And I'm just picking up some white bands because I realized I did not do that. Okay. So like I said, we're switching over back to the fluff color. So we're just gonna pull a band through everything on our hook, put both ends back on our hook, push the back one over the front one. And this one does need a fluff band on it, so we're gonna pull this off of our hook for a second, double a band on our hook, then go back, and then just, I did not explain that at all, I'm sorry. We're gonna put this back on our hook, and then you just slide the fluff band over. And our C-clip will be going on this one. Like that. So that's the start of our arm. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna be doing 2 rows of single stitches around this, and I know it's very small, and it gets very hard to see with the fluff bands, but it is possible. So we're gonna do 2 rows of single stitches, and we're still adding fluff before each loop, or each stitch. And it is very hard to see. I think if you're having a ton of trouble doing it with 4 loops, you can do 5 loops in the cap band, and maybe it'll make it a bit easier, but it's not too bad. It's just a little hard to see. But we're just doing single stitches, so we're just doing 1 stitch per loop all the way around. And at the end of this row, you should still be at 4 loops. And once you get to the C-clip, we'll just make a stitch on the one with the C-clip on it. And move it up. And we should still have 4 loops, so if we count, we should have 1, 2, 3, 4. So that was 1 row of single stitches. Like I said, we have to do 2, so I'm gonna go ahead and start the other row. I'm not explaining too much because I feel like we've done quite a bit of this, so I'm trying to not go too fast, but still like explain, but I'm not going super slow either. It's also just kind of really hard to see what I'm doing. Okay. And then once you get to the C-clip, you're just gonna make a stitch on the one that has a C-clip on it. And I usually take my C-clip out at this point. And you can count around to see if you're still at 4 loops. 1, 2, 3, 4. But now all we're gonna do is we're just gonna tie this off and attach it to our Yeti. So we're gonna stop adding fluff bands at this point. You're just gonna pick up the next stitch like if you were to decrease. So you're gonna grab the inside part of one loop, back part of the next loop, and then you just pull a band through everything, and we're gonna use this band to attach the arm to our Yeti. You're just gonna pick where you want your arm. I usually put the arm like about right here. I think I've been tying them a little high, honestly, so I might tie this one a little lower. But you're just gonna use that band to tie it in. And then your Yeti should have an arm. And I actually haven't been tying his arms down. I don't know why. I've made it, the last two I made, I just let their arms be free. But you can tie the arms down if you want them to not be everywhere, but I kind of think it looks cute like that. So we'll just tie the other. Obviously, if you didn't make the other arm, you need to make the other arm, but I made it ahead of time. But if you haven't made the other arm, you can just rewind this video, make the other arm, and then come back. But yeah, you do need 2 arms. I just already pre-made one. And just as the same as before, I left the band so I could just attach it. Arms. I don't know, you could tie them down so he looks like this, but I've noticed that if you just kind of squish them down, they kind of stay down and then they kind of look up and it's kind of cute. I don't know, that's just me. That's personal preference. Anyways, the last thing we need to do is his little face and horn area. The face is pretty simple. The face is just a tripled cap band with 8 stitches in it. So we'll do that first, just because I like to do the face before the horns. And then after that we're done. So this guy actually does come together pretty quickly. It's just very tiny at times. Okay, so for the face, like I said, we're just doing a tripled cap band with 8 stitches in it. We've done a lot of cap bands at this point, so I'm gonna go a little faster, but I'm still gonna explain. But you're just gonna wrap a band 3 times around your hook, and then we'll be putting 8 stitches in this cap band. So once again, we'll pull a band through everything, both ends back on our hook, push the back one over the front one, then go back through the cap band, pull a band through just the cap band, both ends back on our hook, push the back one over the front one, and then push the loop from last time over as well. And then we're just going to keep repeating that until we have 8 stitches in our cap band. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8. So you're going to want to count to make sure you have 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Once you've made sure you have 8, you're just going to go through the first loop, pull a band through, and I usually use this band to tie into the Yeti, so I'm actually going to switch to white so that way it's easier to hide. So I'm going to switch to my fluff color, just pull a band through everything, and then I'm just going to use this to tie into where I want the Yeti's face to be. I usually tie each side of the face down, so I'll just tie this end down and then tie across. So we'll tie this end, and then we'll go across and tie the other end down. So I just went through one of the loops, and then I went through part of the Yeti, and then I just tie both ends of the face down. And it'll still kind of look weird at this point. I've noticed when it starts to look better is when you put the nose on. But I'm just gonna hide the tails real quick. So I'm just pulling the tails into the Yeti so that way they're not as noticeable. Like that. And I think we're gonna do the nose next. So for the nose, in case you couldn't tell, they all have little noses. You're just gonna wrap a band 4 times around your hook. So I take a band, double it on my hook, grab both the loops, wrap them around again. I did not double that correctly, but it should be wrapped 4 times around your hook, so it should look like this. Then I'll just take a band, slide this onto that band. Also, if you don't have beads you can use for eyes, this is the exact same way you would make eyes, just with a black band. And I like to tie the nose directly in the center, and you can kind of see that we have like 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches on that side. I like to go like under the cap band, leaving like 4 on each side, and then I just tie the nose directly in the middle. I think it just makes his face look a little longer and cute instead of so round. We'll just hide the tail. That. And we'll do the horns next, and then we'll do the eyes last. So the horns are very simple too. The horns are just a band. Okay, wait, let me get everything I need. But for the horns, you're just gonna start by wrapping a band 4 times around your hook, so twice, 4. Then we're gonna take a band, double it. I felt like a bug crawling on my leg, but there was no bug. Double it, and then you're just gonna slide the cap band onto this double band. Here we go. And then put both ends back on our hook. It should look something like this. And then we're just gonna take a white band, slide it on, and then we'll just tie this into the top of our Yeti. Just wherever you want the horn to be. I think I'm gonna go right here. Like that. And we'll just repeat that for the other horn. So again, we'll start by wrapping a band 4 times around our hook. And we'll take a band, double it, slide the cap band onto it, and then just pull a white band through and tie into our Yeti. And I'm gonna tie this one right here. And I'm not tucking in the tails right now because I kind of just don't want to. So the very last thing we need to do is the eyes. I'm just gonna tuck these 2 tails in real quick. So I also may need to tie down this guy's arms. For some reason my other guys, they looked okay with their arms up. This guy looks kind of awkward. Like, look, his arms are like straight out. I didn't tie down this guy's arms, but I thought they looked cute like that. He does not look cute. He looks a little weird. I'm probably gonna have to tie his down. Anyways, very last step. Eyes. I have all these 4mm black beads. If you don't have beads, just make eyes the same way you made the nose, just with black bands. But I'm gonna take my eyes. And you need a piece of string. I usually use dental floss. It just kind of works the best because it doesn't really fray. But you're gonna just thread. You'll just thread your bead onto a band. So you'll just take your piece of string, And you're just gonna fold over and go back through the bead. And then you just slide the bead onto the band. We just do this for both eyes. I'm gonna do this one off camera real quick. Okay. Like that. And now we'll just tie our eyes in. I also put the beads on the face color just because I think it looks better. But we're just gonna tie these right by the nose. Basically, we just tie the eyes on either side of the nose. I like to do it right here. Like that. And then we'll just tuck the tails in and he'll be all done. So, yeah. Okay, so this guy definitely needs his arms tied down, so I'm gonna tie him down real quick and I'll show you how to do one just in case your guy's having the same issue as my guy. But if your guy's arms are sticking straight out and you don't like it, just go through part of the arm and then part of your Yeti, take a band and then just slip knot them together. I don't know why this guy's arms were so far out like that. I've literally made a couple of these guys and none of them have had this problem. His arms just didn't like me. Okay. Like that. And yeah. So that's pretty much it for this design. I hope your Yeti came out okay. I know I kind of went fast at the end, but it's kind of just like a lot at once. I don't know. Also, my hands were getting tired, so I was kind of like ready to finish. But if you make a Yeti, don't forget to share it with me and Jaime. I know he would love to see if you make this design because he's the one who designed it. I mean, I guess I made the original like bigger Yeti, but he made this cute small one. So yeah, don't forget to check him out on Instagram. He posts a lot and he makes a lot of cool things. Yeah, anyways, I hope your Yeti turned out okay. Like I said, don't forget to share them with me. I would love to see how they turn out. I know this is a bit of a like winter design coming out in summer, but I've actually had this design and I've been sitting on it for like a year, but I just kept getting busy and never filming this tutorial. So when I was like thinking about coming back, I was like, I have to make a tutorial for this one because I've just been waiting so long. So I hope you enjoyed the mini Yeti, even though it's no longer winter season, but maybe he works for the summer. I don't know. Anyway, subscribe to this channel if you want to see what's coming. I don't know if you follow my Instagram, but if you don't, I recently graduated from university, so my excuse of always being busy because of school is gone now, so I'll be back more. So subscribe if you want to see whatever new designs are coming. I'm currently working on a bunch of new things. You can also check out my Instagram if you want to keep up with me on there. I post more on Instagram just in general because Instagram, I have no idea. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. It was cool being back, and I'll see you soon. Oh, I hated that they were blurry. I couldn't leave on a blurry note. But yeah, I'll see you soon in the next tutorial. Bye.